All right, guys, so now we're going to jump into Flexbox. And if you don't understand everything in this first video here, don't worry about it. We're going to be building an entire project, an entire website using Flex. So things are going to come to you as we go. But I'm just going to use the CSS sandbox that we've been using. I'm going to create a file called 16 underscore flex underscore basics dot html. Okay, and we'll put in our boilerplate. For our title, we'll say Flex Basics, and let's put in our style tags. Now for the body, I'm going to have a div. I'm just going to give it an ID of container, and then let's do a div with the class of item. We're going to have a couple of these. So for the content inside the item, I want to have an H3. Okay, we're just using Emmet here, and we're going to say item money sign, which will be an incremented number. And then I think that's it. So let's go ahead and hit, actually we want to do times 3 and then tab or enter, and it will give us 3 divs, class item, and then H3s. So if I save this and we take a look, let's open with live server. You'll see we just have our divs here. And I just want to style the items. So for class item, let's just say background light gray. We'll do a border of light gray. And padding, we'll say 1 rem. Let's text align to the center. And that should be good. And now we have some styling for each one here. Now remember what I said, if we say display flex for this item here, for this element, it becomes a flex container, and then everything, all the direct children, which are these divs, are going to become flex items, which we can lay out horizontally or vertically in a column. So let's take that container and let's add a display property with a value of flex, and as soon as I save, notice what happens. They get aligned horizontally. Okay, so basically doing what like a float does with just this one line. And it doesn't matter if these don't have classes. It doesn't matter if these are divs or list elements or I'm sorry, list items. It doesn't matter. Anything that's a direct child of this flex item, or this flex container, I should say, is a flex item and will automatically get put into a row. Now we can have flex items go this way in a column by setting flex direction to column, and if I save that, now it goes back to a column, and it's still a flex box. We can still use the alignment classes and stuff that I'm going to show you in the next video, but I want to keep this a row, so I'm just going to comment that out, and I'm going to put this to row, which is basically the same thing as not putting it at all because row is default. Oh, actually I want to show you we can also do row reverse. And if I save that, notice that now 3 is the first one, and they also get aligned over here. And then, yes, you can do row reverse as well, but we're going to stick to row. Now, we can set specific widths to these if we want using flex basis. In fact, we're going to do that in the next video. But for the most part, you're going to want your horizontal items to go all the way across, okay, regardless of which one takes up whatever amount of space. You want them to go all the way across their container, which in our case is the whole browser window. So what I'm going to do is set on the item here, I'm going to set flex 1 and save. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to make them all equal, and it doesn't matter how I size the browser, they're always going to be equal. So you can see how easy this is. After doing the floats, remember we did the float, we did the width, whatever, I think we did like 32.3%, and then we had to set the box sizing so that the width, the padding didn't add to the width. We had to clear them, and it's just a pain. The height, you have to add a height when you do the floats. This makes things so much easier, and I know that it's another thing to learn, but once you start using Flex and the grid, you don't use float. Aside from this course, just to teach you guys, I haven't used float in years. So let's say we wanted to do like a main area and a sidebar. We didn't want them to be all equal. So let's actually just take two of them. And even if we have two, if they're set to flex 1, they're going to be equal. But what I'll do is I'll take the first one, which I could give a custom class if I wanted to. But what I'm going to do is use the pseudo selector first child. So I'm going to say item colon first child, and that's going to select the first item, and I'm going to set that flex property to 2. Okay, so this first one has a flex of 2, and the second one has a flex of 1. So let's save that, and now you'll see that this has more space. Okay, so easy way to set up a main area and a sidebar, and it's going to stay like that no matter what. Okay, if we wanted it to be even bigger, we could say flex 3 and save, and it gets even bigger. Okay, but I'm going to put this, let's just put this back to 1. Yeah, we'll just do that. So let's see, what else do I want to show you guys in this video? If we wanted some margin, because right now you can see they're basically stuck to each other, so we could add margin to the item as well. So if I say margin, let's do 0.75 rem and save, and we get our margin. Let's put the third one back. Okay, so no matter what, and now I can keep bringing in more. Let's put, look at that, and it's just, everything just works. It just aligns how it should. Now we do have a property called flex wrap, because once you hit 12, it's going to do one of two things. It's going to go off the screen and you'll have a scroll bar, or it'll wrap onto the next line. So what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's do 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and let's save. So notice now we have a scroll bar because it's not going to put more than 12 on the screen. But if we wanted to wrap onto the next line, we could go to our container and we could add a property of flex wrap, and we could set that to wrap. Okay, so we have no wrap, we have wrap reverse, which is just reverse them, and save, and now you can see they go on to the next line. All right, so, and you can see, so it's pretty cool. And think of if we did like an image gallery or something. You know, it makes things much easier than having to float these, clear them, deal with the heights, deal with you know, all the crap that goes into floating, the widths. So yeah, it makes things much easier. So another thing that we can do, I'm trying to think of all the properties I want to display here. We have flex flow, which is basically a shortcut for the direction and the wrap. Okay, so instead of putting both of these, we could do flex flow, and we could say we want a row and we want it to wrap. So that's the same as these two. So if I comment these two out and save, we get the same thing. If I wanted to change this to, let's say, no wrap and save, now you can see there's no wrap. All right, but I personally don't usually use flex flow. I don't usually use wrap because I don't have, in most cases, I won't have more than 12 flex items. All right, so let's see, I think that's it. Yeah, so in the next video, I'm going to show you how we can work with the alignment properties like justify content, align items, and stuff like that, which are very useful if you don't have them spanning across the whole parent container. All right, so we'll get into alignment next.